Can you think back to a time where you first took a risk, how it made you feel at that time? How big of a risk was it for you?
To be honest, I'm quite boring. I didn't really take any big risks. And looking back at the time, it was almost a no-brainer. It was a calculated risk. About 30, when I started Inspired with a very good friend, Jason Owata, it was either get a job, high-paid job, I suppose at the time in sales, or go at it myself and try and create opportunities for family, friends, people I trust that I want to take on the journey with me. Looking back, best decision I ever made. Obviously, it's been ups and downs. But I remember sitting in a restaurant in London with my now wife and saying, is this stupid? I'm on a good salary. I can go and get another salary. Do I want to take on all the stress? And she said, you'd regret it for the rest of your life. So, I thank her forever for that. That was probably the biggest risk I ever took. And at the time, it was literally giving up a few months' wages for trying to make it on my own.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Calculated Risks. Today I'm joined with Leigh Hussain, a serial entrepreneur, investor, and business owner. Welcome to the show, Leigh.
Thanks for having me.
Leigh, I got you a little drink.
Delightful. I've been waiting for you to give it to me. Can I open it now? Because I'm really dry-mouthed.
We'll
and
open it
this
together.
stuff is delicious.
It is.
But you've shook it.
I did that on purpose.
Brilliant. And we're not using the glasses. We're doing it like the can, are we? Doing dirty? Yeah, no, it is delicious. I got myself a pack of it. Recommend it. Right.
So, Leigh, the first question I have to you, can you think back to a time where you first took a risk, how it made you feel at that time, and how big of a risk was it for you?
To be honest, I'm quite boring. I didn't really take any big risks. And looking back at the time, it was almost a no-brainer. It was a calculated risk, name of the show. About 30, when I started Inspired with a very good friend, Jason Owata, it was either get a job, high-paid job, I suppose at the time in sales, or go at it myself and try and create opportunities for family, friends, people I trust that I want to take on the journey with me. Looking back, best decision I ever made. Obviously, it's been ups and downs. But I remember sitting in a restaurant in London with my now wife and saying, is this stupid? I'm on a good salary. I can go and get another salary. Do I want to take on all the stress? And she said, you'd regret it for the rest of your life. So, I thank her forever for that. She's probably regretted it because of the stress that I bring to the family ever since. But that was probably the biggest risk I ever took. And at the time, it was literally giving up a few months' wages for trying to make it on my own with support of a business partner, which was a key part.
I can imagine you felt the pressure a lot in that moment. Compared to back then and now, how do you calculate risk and how does it make you feel?
I firstly see, when you say risk, what are you referring to? You want about investments?
Investment, business.
Yeah. So we take risks. At Inspired Business Media, we arrange business-to-business events, qualified, there's a plug, qualified engagement all over the world. So we're constantly taking risks, so to speak, with new products, whether they be an event, a new region, magazines. During COVID, we launched virtual roundtables, which was a whole new business in itself. But again, they're all calculated. We've always had an audience that wants to sell something and wants to buy something. What we don't want to do is miss the opportunity and regret it. So we've got to act fast and put ourselves in a contractual situation where we can get out of it quick enough, revert or change not necessarily the geography if we're committed to a venue, but the attendees or the theme, agenda, etc.
For sure. And getting on to Inspired, that's something we'll definitely come back to. But in terms of where it started, where you transitioned from employee to business owner, can you take me back to where it started?
So I've, from a young age, always been fascinated with business. My dad used to have a market stall, different businesses. So I used to go to the markets from an age of 11, believe it or not, because I wanted to spend time with my dad. And I used to like wheeling and dealing. And I was a bit of a chubby kid as well. So I used to like the burgers. He used to motivate me with burgers. If you help unpack the van quick enough. Yeah, I'm going to get some jokes about this in the office, that's for sure. But yeah, worked on different market stalls growing up on weekends. I didn't miss any school. Leather shop, baby wear business. Catalogue returns was the good one that we had a lot of fun with. And I started getting my rugby mates involved to come and do a shift with me on the weekend before rugby. So always around it. When my dad retired to be with my mother more, then I got into the world of banking. So it was a huge change for me because I went from wheeling and dealing on the markets, and we also had a second-hand shop as well, and just learning loads of stuff, antiques that always fascinated me. Negotiating always fascinated me, and then when I went into the bank, I would still do a bit here and there as well, a bit of wheeling and dealing with certain things, which sounds a bit Del Boy-like, but it was, if I'm honest. I've never really been away from business. Even when I was a bank manager, I was involved in some way, shape or form. Yeah.
It's interesting that you said about the markets, because I feel like every real successful entrepreneur always started off in some sort of wheeling and dealing market story. So it's really good that you have that. What lessons did you learn which you've carried over into your present day businesses that you learned from the markets?
Yeah, so it was a real eye-opener for me when I went first all into Lloyds TSB Bank to meet with the regional director, to be interviewed from coming out of contact centre into branch of customer facing. And he said, what experience have you got? I said, my CV says I've just worked in contact centre for the past couple of years, but I've actually worked markets from the age of 11, and told him all this. I said, don't know if that counts. And he went, wow. He said, so you've got experience with speaking to people from all walks of life? I was like, what? And he said, well, yeah, it's the same as a branch. You could have all different religions, all different ages, all different types of people. And yes, it's a huge experience to just be able to not confront people, but to speak to all different people, negotiate with all different people. And there's all different tricks on it, which I'll tell you about off camera, that we used to have a laugh about, me and my dad growing up, which carried into this very day.
It's funny that you say that, because a man who's been a big influence on my life, he always said to me that you should always be able to have a conversation with the person cleaning the toilets or the CEO who drives the very fancy car at the very top. The conversation doesn't change. So I think those personable skills and being able to connect with people goes a long way for you. Going from the bank then to Inspired Business Media, talk to me about that.
So I always knew, as much as I enjoyed it and relish every opportunity I'm involved in, I always knew I wasn't meant to be a bank manager. I was there, I was organising parties on the weekends. I used to run a night in Cardiff on a Thursday evening called Temptation Thursdays, which I was earning in one night a week, pretty much what I was earning in my monthly wage at the bank. I did it for not reasons to do with business, so to speak. I did it just to be out there partying and being the party organizer, and I did it with a friend. But that opened up my eyes that there's more money to be earned if you put yourself out there. I always knew I didn't want to be in a bank. My mum and dad were very proud. I worked in the bank for, I think, 7 years, literally straight out of school. I was working in the evenings whilst I was doing my GCSEs when I turned 16, whatever that was. It was around the corner, Klepper Park contact centre. Learned loads, met some amazing people, friends to this day. Great place to work, by the way. But yeah, I just always knew it wasn't for me. I felt like I was being fake. Mum and dad liked the three-piece suit. They liked those, their son had a professional job. I much preferred running nights on a Thursday in Cardiff, and I worked the doors on a Friday and Saturday night as well, which was, it made more sense to me because I wasn't out drinking. I was out earning money, and I was actually in control of the party in some way, shape or form. So, and I was with my friends and did it with my friends. So they're really good times, good memories looking back. I was always waiting for that opportunity to jump, I suppose. Just, one of those things, I was coasting. I was always, I'll get around to it this year. And then it just so happened I had a disciplinary in Lloyd's branch for giving my friends their overdraft fees back. In bank, you're not supposed to deal with family and friends. A few people do. So yeah, I give good friends of mine their overdraft fees back. I would have given anyone back under the circumstances. So yeah, it got looked into. And the moment I left that room and they said, look, we're looking into it. You're suspended or whatever. I knew literally as I left, got on the train home that day, that's it. I'm not going back. I'm going to drag this out as long as possible. And I am now going to jump. So that's when I knew.
And what was the first initial step when you took that jump?
At the time, I spoke to my friends that had the idea of setting up an events business. We thought we invented something at the time because obviously events is a vast industry. We specialize in pre-qualified meetings. Some people say speed dating, but if it was speed dating, you already fancy each other and have the same hobbies and interests. So super qualified, not wasting people's time. The concept, we thought that we invented it. We realized there were quite a few companies doing it globally, very few doing it in Wales and the UK.
And for the viewers who are not massively clued up on events,
Yeah.
what type of events do you put on and what can people get out of them?
So we're effectively middlemen, business to business events. Qualified engagement, again, is the key buzzword we keep saying. So we specialize in IT security, marketing, procurement. I'll just start listing out all the industries now, but I don't want to use this as a sales tool. But yeah, we connect businesses. There's no one we can't reach.
And if a sponsor were to come to an Inspired Business Media event, what could they expect to gain from it?
I wouldn't say business because we can't guarantee business. Otherwise, I'd be working from a yacht. But would get them in front of people whilst they're looking, to spend in their space or unhappy with a current supplier.
And what about a delegate?
A delegate comes for a number of reasons, which is quite subjective to that person. One thing for sure is they don't just come to our events to be pitched. They do come for personal growth. They come to boost their own personal brand. They come to speak, again, personal brand, and to network with their peers to learn. Honestly, probably lastly, they come, unless it's a real urgent project, do they come to go, I want to come to that event to take meetings all day with vendors? They don't, is the reality.
Yeah, being part of some of your events that you've put on, I've definitely come away feeling inspired, met some good connections, and most importantly, we had a good time, didn't we?
That's the good thing is, you get away out the office, you have some great insights, some inspirational talks, and you think outside the box and make some new connections. And that's what it's all about. And I think that's something that we definitely learned from COVID is that people do want to meet people. And I think with AI now coming about now, it's something that AI is not going to replace is, person-on-person engagement. So, I think we're in a good place. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next upcoming events. It should be good. Inspired Business Media isn't always what it is now. How did you grow and scale it?
It's been a difficult journey, one that's we're on right now to almost do more with less. And that's, again, because of AI. And some people won't want to hear that, but, you need to adapt to change. So going from 5 staff to 10 staff to 56 staff, huge, cultural journey as well. So it's exciting when we started the business. We celebrated every win, every deal. We were, popping out, getting a round of coffees. And the reality is you can't continue that unless you've got big budgets for a lot of coffee, which has gone up over the years. So the people that were at the start of that journey, they remember those good times and probably look back and go, I felt involved in every decision and, we celebrated everything. But, times change, the company grows. But we're now at a stage now where we're back down to 29 staff within Inspired Business Media, doing more financially than we did with 56 staff. So it's been a journey, a continuous one. I think I mentioned earlier, COVID was huge for us because we're an events company that can do events. So we had to adapt to change then. And what doesn't kills you makes you stronger. It's a true saying. Yeah.
For sure. And I remember you telling me, I think when we first spoke about how you went online, and at the time no one else was actually doing that in the events world. How did you come about that idea?
I wouldn't want to say that we invented it because we didn't. But look, we still had people that had to sell their products or services, or they would go out of business at a very crucial time, or they wouldn't be required as a job. And we had people on the other side of things that had to buy services to make their companies more cost effective or more efficient to justify their jobs. So the mission of the business continued, and that was qualified engagement. So we took that online. At first, we were learning as we went. My business partner Jason came up with a brilliant name, virtualroundtables.com and .co.uk and .io and all them. So immediately we went straight to the SEO rankings, and we were getting inquiries all the time of people who thought we were a software. That enabled us then to partner with companies like Google, Blue Jeans, I don't want to miss anyone, Ring Central, Zoom. Yeah, so we partnered with all those companies as a sponsor, and enabled us to offer their platform as a service for the service that we were offering, which was, we'll go to market, get your target clientele to come on a round table about a topic that's relevant to your solution. And people did a lot of business off it. It works. We're very proud of that.
It's definitely an achievement for sure. And you have achieved a lot in your career so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else you do. Obviously, Inspired Business Media seems to be your baby. What other businesses are you involved in?
So yeah, first and foremost, I'm the CEO and founder of Inspired Business Media. Nothing really works without that because it gives us access to some incredible people that have budget power, and we also get to see the trends, what people are spending their money on. All right, so everything has come off that. So we're investors in Focus Shift Films, which is a filming and production company, a beard and cosmetics company, sugarbeard.com.co.uk. Check it out. Cool products. A barbershop and tattoo studio, which is because we've invested in property. Cigars, cigarmanor.com.co.uk. Configure, which is data software. Brand Lab, virtual showroom software. I think that's it. 8 companies.
It's
Hope
a
I haven't
lot.
missed anyone. Yeah.
It's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
And you've clearly had experience with startup life across many different businesses.
Yeah.
Um, what is the biggest mistake that new business owners make?
Honestly, cash flow. That's one I can only, revert myself, I suppose, on that, is always underestimating how much money you need for wages, for unforeseens. When we started out, we got hit with a lot of legal because our former company was trying their best to stop us getting going. And so we had money in the bank that we thought would be fine. We'll use all that for wages to get us going, and end up going all on legal, pretty much all of it. So cash flow is the thing that I see a lot with startup businesses, and hence why people go after investment.
And is that due to not managing it correctly, or just enjoying the money too much as of when it comes in?
Each to their own. But what I've seen firsthand is just unforeseens. People just think, oh, right, we've got 20 grand, that's going to cover wages for so many months. They forget about subscriptions is the new one. Websites, subscriptions coming out of your rear end, constantly, weekly, monthly, applications on your phone. If they're a business expense, they add up.
Especially with all the new AI tools coming out, then obviously you add them to your toolbox.
And if you've got a business that is heavily involved in sales, which is the majority of businesses, then you need a CRM. CRM softwares aren't cheap. And then you need integrations. So we spend tens of thousands on integrations and CRM monthly. Yeah.
So like many of these businesses, you must have faced similar challenges.
Yeah.
How did you implement that into your own business? Or what did you learn from it?
So the saying, cash is key. Cash is key. I'll say it again. When I was told that when I first started out, it made a lot of sense. And you might be in our first year, we were owed a lot of money at Christmas time, and no one had paid. So we might have celebrated the contracts in, but the reality is, if the cash wasn't in the bank account, you can't pay wages. So the very first year, my business partner and I, we didn't at Christmas time, we didn't take a wage. We had to wait till January till invoices were paid, and because we provide the service after we're paid, we couldn't do invoice factoring as well, where you can get someone to pay you 80% of it and they chase the money. So that wasn't applicable to our business. So yeah. So to answer, what to do, you got to sell. You've got to make sure there's money in the bank account, and everyone in your business, if possible, should have an element of sales.
I agree. And one thing that I've noticed, especially with my generation, is everyone seems like they want all the results without putting in the work. What's your take on the work ethic from the younger generation today?
Ooh, I don't want to put down anybody.
Might
Right?
lose LinkedIn followers now.
Yeah, no. It's each to their own again. I know my nephew just turned 18. Work ethic is astronomical, incredible. Right? So tarnishing everyone the same brush, probably a little unfair. So I'd rather not say. What I would say for sales, though, because I'm a salesperson through and through. I love sales. I'm still involved in sales now. People do get a shock when I jump on a call as a sales call and it's me. But I love it. You get such a buzz from doing a sale. And also you can show your sales team how it's done, or they show you, and you're always learning together. But it's very, very different now. So cold calling with AI is not going to be the same again over the next few years. AI will be doing outbound. Email setting, automation. So we do LinkedIn automation, email automation, AI autoresponder as well to set up calls. Then you've got things like Calendly as well, where you just send a link out and people book calls in with you. Whereas when I started out in sales, you'd literally have an expo guide, because obviously we'd go after sponsors, and you would just be cold calling the switchboard and trying to get through to the managing director or sales director, trying to get through a PA. So it was a different sort of graft. Businesses now, I feel, need to utilize automation and artificial intelligence in some aspects to put their sales reps in the best position of giving demos and building relationships, which is tough with young people coming up. They're missing out on that element of graft. Well, I shouldn't say graft, but that skill set was extremely valuable. So we'll find out how it goes.
Yeah, I think in those tough times of not being able, well, I say tough times, but back in the day when you didn't have all these luxury tools that we do have now, you learn a different set of skills.
Yeah.
And everything obviously now is more automated. What tools are you using in your businesses which are helping with productivity?
Yeah. Well, it's not rocket science. LinkedIn. You know, when we started, when I started out, LinkedIn didn't exist. So it was literally like phone books. It makes me sound like a dinosaur now, but it's true. It was phone books and landlines and 141 in your number to block it if you were calling it, more than once. Whereas now, anyone who's anyone in business world is on LinkedIn. So pay for your sales navigator license and in-mail people, message people. The problem with that is you're in a very saturated market where everybody's doing it. So you've got to think outside the box and mix it up with the phone call, following up your email, or with the email, following up your LinkedIn message. So yeah, there's integration tools there, which you only got to Google it. There's hundreds. Which ones are right for your business, is again subjective.
For sure. There's loads of different tools like Lusher, Zoom Info.
You must live on LinkedIn Recruiter.
All the time.
Yeah, you couldn't work without
Constantly.
it. It's crazy.
Constantly. And when it comes to, not to give away any of your secrets, but when it comes to staying ahead of the competition, how do you go about that?
Keep an eye on competition's key. But the main thing we do is every industry we're in, we have an advisory board. When we started, we did facilities management events. And I actually thought I was going to have to do a facilities management degree to try and keep up with the agendas. And the people we were in business with at the time said, "You're mad. You can't go off and do a 1 or 2 year degree and think that you can be on a level with someone who's got 30 years experience in property and facilities. And how can you become a chameleon in different industries like finance, like IT?" And I took that. Just staying a middleman has always been key for me. So what we do at Inspired is we leverage our network by having 10 to 15 industry figureheads in each industry to write the agendas for us, make sure they're cutting edge, make sure they're relevant for them. So all of our events, for example, CIO, which is a Chief Information Officer, our CIO Inspired Summit is run by CIOs. And that's how we'll always stay ahead, because the people that want to hear the content are running the content.
Yeah, you're getting advice from actual professionals who are living and breathing the role.
Absolutely, yeah.
And when it comes to recruiting for your businesses,
Yeah.
what do you look for in an employee to come work for you?
Each role's different. On the sales side, I'm looking for people with personality, character, people who are memorable. If they're making a phone call or meet someone like yourself. So, with AI automation again, we're in a really fortunate position where a lot of those mundane tasks can now be replaced and people can do more high value tasks. I've always said to our guys, look, when you were hired, we weren't looking to see how good your click was for a copy and paste. We bought into you as a person, your background, your experience. And that's what we really need to leverage, to grow your own sales and grow this business. So I'm looking for personalities, character, people who are memorable. And I think those people are really going to thrive now over the up and coming years.
And have you had any challenges with hiring over the last 3 years?
Yeah, every time we go to hire, there's a challenge. And that is because people know what to say in interviews. And, they say the right things. And I think we say Inspired, you got to hire fast, you got to fire fast. And people might not like that. But if someone's not coming good on what, the expectations were, and obviously you've got to set those expectations out at the start, then you've got to call it a day. You're doing each other, a disservice.
It's funny that you say that people know what to say. How do you think AI is going to impact when candidates come for interviews, and helping them
Well, I've
prepare.
seen the video interview, and you've seen the video of the guy that's being interviewed, and he's getting advice off AI to say all the right things, and
Yeah,
he's literally like teleprompter it. So yeah, it's gonna just get tougher and tougher.
most definitely. And I know we're coming to the end now. So, in terms of what's on the cards for you going into the future, what are
Yeah,
you working towards?
we're really lucky again. I know we create our own look at Inspired, but if we want to try new geography, we just try it. We've got the model, we know what works, we've got a process and a formula. So if we want to go to any country in the world without throwing any countries out there, we can do the research and go into it. So excited. This year we're going to be launching in Saudi. We're doing a lot more in West Coast America, San Francisco in particular. So that's exciting from a business standpoint. We're going very much down. We're doing data events now as well and AI events. So that's cool as well because I'm usually in the background learning. All our talks are 20 minutes in length. So if they're boring, it's only 20 minutes. If you're watching them back on our YouTube channel, just switch them off. So it's looking forward to them. And genuinely, I love meeting people. That's why I'm in this business, and I'll be in this business, I think, till the day I die. Mrs. probably won't want to hear that because I love going to events and meet interesting people all the time.
I think your personality suits it, and I couldn't see you doing anything else.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Looking back on all the experience you've gained over the years, what advice would you give to your younger self?
So it's a very broad question because life's obviously a big thing, but business-wise, entrepreneurship is not for everyone because it's a lifestyle. It literally is 24/7. Ask my wife, and she's amazing. Lisa, give her a shout out because she gives me time to answer emails. She's very upfront with me about it as well. Goes, "Look, phone needs to go down now." It is, like I said, 24/7. So it takes a toll on your life. But I see it as a hobby. Business is a hobby for me. I enjoy it. I don't play FIFA, or COD or whatever on computer games. I do business and I enjoy that. So yeah, it's a lifestyle that I don't regret. What I would say to people out there who are looking to jump into business or on multiple business entrepreneurship or diversify and do something completely different. If you think you're going to regret it, do it now. Don't wait, another 2 or 5 years. Just jump, because if you do it now, you'll have time to revert back. Be graceful in exiting the business, your job. Don't burn bridges. Life's too short. So yeah, there's no one I've burned bridges with that I know of. So I think that's really important, and that's something I continue to do. But yeah, the advice I'd give to myself is if you think you're going to regret it, jump. So yeah, I probably would have jumped sooner had I looked back.
Some great advice. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell the people where they can find you and
LinkedIn, Leigh Hussain, or inspiredbusinessmedia.com.
thanks for watching. I hope you had some key takeaways from our conversation with Leigh. As he said, you can find him at Inspired Business Media, or you can connect with him on LinkedIn as Leigh Hussain. If you think there's anyone that we should speak to or you'd like to see us interview, then drop us a comment below or a direct message and we'll reach out to them to see if we can get them in. Hopefully see you in the next one. Take care.